Vice Chairman Riley.
Here.
Alan Morris here. Director Checkley. Here. Director Schaffner.
Here.
Director McCardle. Am I saying that correct?
You are.
Oh, I was concerned about that.
I was too, until she said it. Alrighty, let's take a look at the agenda for tonight. We have a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Any seconds?
Second.
Any discussion?
Did our speakers?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approval of the minutes. Minutes are dated October 17, 2019.
I did have one addition.
Okay,
I mentioned at the last meeting that we might consider more meetings instead of one per month.
okay. And that was an omission on my part, so we will add that.
Where would that go?
That was down under the director's comment, where I made that. Any other corrections? If not, with the correction that has been indicated that's needed, I'd like to have someone make a motion for approval.
I move we accept the minutes as corrected.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Alrighty, with that, the community leader reports. Kern County Sheriff's Office.
He's back.
Hello. Did you miss me?
Yes.
You were gone?
Did you bring the 17 new officers with you?
It's hilarious. I just brought a broken sergeant back to you. So for October, what I have for a breakdown for the Mojave Boron area, 632 calls for service, 18 arrests made. For Rosamond, 648 calls for service, 25 arrests made. I know you like to ask every time what the cases are, but they're a litany of everything, and it would take me forever to work through those. I wanted to just talk a minute, give you a heads up on changes that you're seeing in the area. I am down to 3 working deputies. And I'm working light duty behind the desk, so you won't see me out and about per se like I was before for a little while. I am in the office, but that's kind of where I am unless you catch me out eating or something. Those deputies have been somewhat combined with Mojave's deputies, so you will not hear a Rosamond. If you're a scanner person, you will not hear a Rosamond deputy's call sign. You'll hear mine, or you'll hear my detectives. That's it. We have a 12 deputy working schedule for Mojave, Boron, North Edwards, Edwards Air Force Base, and Rosamond between both stations. So response times will be much longer than they used to be, and probably what we're even more accepted recently. It's just the nature of the business. Due to some attrition, some injuries, and I won't touch much, but just to remind you, I'm sure you saw it in the news, what's happened to Rosamond. So it is what it is. We're trying to work through those things. So as far as the community goes, I know there's been some feedback from some of my deputies. The public's angry that it takes us so long. Don't shoot the messenger. It is what it is. Any questions?
What about the new pot shop that's on Diamond?
It's gonna be just like the other pot shop. I just heard about that when I came back to work. All we can do is refer that to code compliance. They're the one that are supposed to deal with that sort of issue, and it just adds another tick mark to Rosamond's population as such.
It's already been communicated to
Many times.
Lorelei about that place.
Yeah.
So,
Five grams just moved over there. That's all they did. They just relocated. Yeah, I'm just a 5 grams out.
Just
Still illegal?
just for clarification, when you say 12 officers, you're not talking on duty at a time, that's rotating.
that's a rotating 24-hour shift. So do the math, you know how to do staffing. Our guys are on 12 now, right? So we run roughly, right now the schedule, there's two deputies that come on in the daytime for mornings. One comes on a little bit later, so like a mid-morning. Another one comes on, let's see, 7, 11, 1500, and then our graveyard comes on. There's 2 of them, and that's it for the night for those 2. So we try to kind of fatten it up during the daytime because you get slammed for some reason, and nighttime too for safety reasons. And the daytime is just kind of what it is. So, slim pickings, very much so.
Thanks, sir. California Highway Patrol, hopefully there's anyone here.
No, took that. No.
I can give a little report on that.
Okay.
Last week, they graduated a new class of volunteers. And those volunteers are assigned to Rosamond from time to time. It was held at the Mojave station. The chief came, the Lancaster commander came, and of course John Williams was there. But it was good to see the enthusiasm of the new volunteers that going to help the highway patrol.
I think it'll be ride-alongs.
Everything in the office, ride-alongs, carry messages, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, thank you, Jim. California Assembly Representative. Kern County Supervisor, Lauren, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm in the group tonight. I don't know where everybody went.
It's a little cold, maybe.
Is that what it is? Okay. What I would like to report on tonight is it's that time again where the county is going to be doing their point-in-time homeless count. And this is an event that is mandated by HUD. And it is done to help with keeping existing funding in place for homeless, and it also helps them with statistics so that they can apply for new funding if it becomes available. So this is a very important event. It will be held on Friday, January 24th. Our county is large, so it will take up to 500 volunteers to fulfill this mandated requirement. So I am here tonight asking for volunteers. Rosamond is one of the key areas that will be counted. There will be training that will be required for the volunteers. There will be multiple locations provided for that training. It's a 2-hour course. If you would like to sign up to be a volunteer, I brought little papers with me that have the website link on it where you sign up, fill out a little form, and then you will be contacted by someone that is organizing the event at the county level. So that's all I have for tonight. If you want to volunteer, see me after the meeting, I'll give you a link.
Thank you, Lauren. Rosamond Community Services District. Greg, you have the floor.
Good evening, 6th, and a lot of you folks were there. There was a pretty good turnout. And so we are now underway with the expansion of our water reclamation plant. And we're hopefully be able to get that set up to where people will be able to safely go in and have some tours. Our general manager has been given a directive to get it set up as soon as possible. We did contract out with a company that's going to be doing drone flyovers to document this facility from start to finish, and so the public can see it. We're going to be working with our media partners, in Rosamond News and the Antelope Valley Press, and essentially what we want, this is such a innovative, groundbreaking process that we are the first ones in the Antelope Valley to actually do this. And if this is successful, which it will be, this is going to have a domino effect to where agencies all over California are going to start doing this to, instead of sending the water out through purple pipes, we can percolate it into the ground and get the same benefit. And this project is going to give us, this community, about 1,000 acre-feet of water a year that we don't currently have right now, just by percolating our recycled water into the ground. And so look forward to giving you guys updates on this, and hopefully we'll be able to get tours for the adults in our community up fairly soon. And then students for the schools will be included at a later time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Rosamond Chamber of Commerce.
All right, not a lot to report. We had our first event, I believe it was the 26th or whatever that Saturday was before Halloween, called Diamond Boo at the new event center. And it was a success, technically. And we did have some issues with the screen where we were showing the movie, but we still had quite a few people come, and it was a good event. We did get our funding in, I believe today. It should have been in our bank accounts today, electronic deposit, for our 3 Renew Biz grants, one for the sidewalks on the event center, one for the solar panels up on the stage covering, and then we're getting all new windows and doors for the Chamber of Commerce itself. We'll be energy efficient and be real nice. December 14th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., we're going to have our second event at the event center. It's called the Holiday Boutique. We'll have a bunch of vendors there. Looks like we might have a pretty good turnout vendor-wise. And anybody interested in being a vendor, it's $10 for chamber members, $20 for non-members to be a vendor. And of course, chamber meeting will be dark next month for December 19th. I don't know if our next one will be or not, but we will be. And that's it. Anybody got any questions? Nope.
Thank you, Jack. Southern Unified School District.
Well, I can say that the school district paid back another $250,000 on their loan. And so now the total amount still due is about $1.3 million. And they probably won't pay anything more until the end of the school year. The California Cadets program that took over for the junior ROTC is thriving. They have 200, even more, both at Tropico and Rosamond High. And the kids seem very enthusiastic about that, and it's prospering. Charlie Wallace is heading it up. and they're doing a great job.
Thank you, John. For the Antelope Valley citizens, for the responsible use of water, I have been in contact with Randy Scott. He indicates there's really been no change in status of things. We still looking good on water. They don't have any rainfall totals really to start talking about at this point. We've only had a couple of days of light rain. Okay.
Edwards Air Force Base.
The only thing I can, of course, I'm not affiliated with the base anymore, but I called to see about getting a tour for a reunion of the class of 1965. It's our 50th next year. And we were hoping to have that coincide with the old timers barbecue that they have at the fairgrounds. And so when Danny Bazell, who's the guy who has taken my place, asked me about the dates, he said, no, can't do it then because we're having an air show that weekend. So that Columbus Day weekend in October next year is when the open house and air show is going to be. So there are some, and I should say that personally for your benefit because of the, what the traffic is like when that happens. The last time that we had an air show there, the traffic was backed up all the way from the gate to enter the flight line, all the way down Highway 14. Now we're talking 3 lanes wide on the base because they utilized 3 lanes when they borrowed a lane from the outgoing. And people were in line 6 and 8 hours without being able to get in, and it was a real nightmare. So traffic control is a real problem. But they do anticipate going 2 days instead of just 1. That'll help. And the indication is now that the Thunderbirds will be here for that. So just kind of a heads up that that's coming.
Thank you. Albert, would you like to give us a real estate report?
Sure. So currently, as of this afternoon, we have 54 active listings for homes for sale in the Rosamond area, with an average square footage of 1,841 square feet, and an average asking price of $299,741, which equals out to about $171 a square foot. We have 42 homes that are pending for sale, with an average asking price of $269. For October, we had 23 homes sell with an average sales price of $293,898. And compare that to September, where we had 32 sales, so we had more sales in September, but a lower average sales price. The average sales price back in September was $268,731. So the market's still pretty sturdy right now. It should be slowing down, especially this month, next month, with the holidays, and then pick up again after the new year. And I just want to mention, if anybody's interested for like a more regular update, we do have a weekly update in the Rosamond News, so you guys can check that as well. It's got some highlighted properties and stuff that are available, listing, pending, and sold, that we try to keep up on there if you guys are just looking for activity in the area.
Okay. Thank you very much, Albert.
So at 1,800 square foot, is that mostly new homes, or
No, it's mixed.
that be like West Park? Or
Mhm.
do you think there's that many homes that large?
Okay, our debt figure tonight, we've had a scheduling snafu. I thought I had this group scheduled for tonight. I found out we have a miscommunication, so I'm going to accept the blame for that.
With the auxiliary on the.
Yes.
So we've been requested that you guys are gonna want to help decorate the chamber event center stage.
I'm not sure about that. I believe that the event center stage,
Yeah,
I believe that Terry was supposed to contact you about that. The
he
auxiliaries
did, but he
declined.
wasn't sure how many of the auxiliary are when, or if you guys are still planning on getting together and doing that.
I'll have Terry or Deborah get with you on that, Jack. I'm not sure if the dates are fine.
If I need to plan a day and know what we need to do.
Okay, I'll have them get with you.
Anything else? Okay, let's move on to public comment period. Does anyone have any comment on any issues of the day with the community? Okay. Let's go ahead and roll into the business meeting committee reports. First item is new revised crosswalks and upgrades to signalized crosswalks. I gave each of you a draft copy to take a look at last month's meeting. The letter is ready for final review and signature if everyone is comfortable with the language that we used in the letter. It's pretty thick.
What are we asking them to do?
This is the crosswalk safety. It's the addition of, for example, at Gateway Plaza, it's putting in a new crosswalk between Gateway Plaza Apartments and Rosamond Plaza with some type of lights, signal lights, because it is very dark in that area. You cannot see anyone at night. The other one, which was up by the high school, which was previously looked at by the county, is up by Rosamond High School at Rosamond Boulevard and Eagle Way. There is an existing crosswalk, but because of traffic glare and everything else at night, you cannot see a pedestrian in that crosswalk. As a matter of fact, I think some people can't even see pedestrians in that crosswalk in the daytime. So we made the suggestion that some type of signal system needs to be put in there so people can cross Rosamond Boulevard at that area. I think the county's receptive, at least to that one that I'm aware of, because they did have some feedback for us a couple of months ago. And the last one is down by Tropico Middle School. And that is a four-way stop intersection. It is sometimes a little out of control. I think the crossing guards do a tremendous job keeping kids safe during school hours. But just as soon as they post, people seem to not care about that intersection. And what I'm recommending, and what the council is recommending, is that we look at some type of signaling system there for that intersection at night. It could be traffic lights with a signalized crosswalk or some variation of the thing. There's a couple of different ones that people can look at down in Lancaster to see what's available. They have them that are solar powered, so that cuts your infrastructure cost way down. You don't have to do much digging and stuff like that. So those are three areas in Rosamond we believe that need some attention to protect pedestrians. Yes, Greg?
Whatever happened, this is going back a few years, the grant that was granted for Rosamond that was supposed to give asphalt walkways from Alberta to, I guess, about where the Family Dollar is now. And then up 20th Street to where people could be able to walk on a asphalt walkway versus walking in the street.
That project has been approved. It's scheduled to be accomplished in the year 2021.
That's the one from Orange up to 20.
It goes from the area near the apartments there in United, comes along the north side of the street and goes in the areas where we do not have sidewalk, and then it jogs down 20th Street West. It's been approved, it's scheduling the county. It takes the county apparently quite a bit of time to get things scheduled and funded, so that's where it stands. It has been approved. Okay, back to the letter. Any comments on the letter? Okay. I think I have some that look similar, but I don't believe they are. But, okay. Well, let me go ahead and ask someone for a motion for us to go ahead and sign this letter.
I'll make a motion for us to sign the letter as written. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that's approved. I will sign the letter tonight, and it will go out in the mail tomorrow to the Board of Supervisors. Okay. Waste Management Services, and I'm not going to steal the thunder from you, Lisa. I'm assuming that they're going to do something in the first quarter next year.
We need to put a date together.
Community swimming pool, skate park, we're going to defer anything else with that until January's meeting. We do know that the pool is going to open in 2020 to the public. We're still looking at some of the other things. We as a council have looked at things such as perhaps corporate sponsorship to help defray some of the costs of running the pool. And so we hope to see some momentum in that area next year. Okay, new community bank. It's going to be my final update on the new community bank, and that is with banks' interest in minimizing their cost, not wanting to build buildings and have real estate and stuff like that. They want to find a host that can provide some square footage for them. There doesn't appear to be any interest in that. So we're no longer going to carry it on an active list of things to do. We'll just ask around periodically to see if there's any movement. Okay. Any questions on the new community bank? Maybe somebody knows something that I don't know. Okay, moving to old business, East Rosamond access for emergency vehicles. That is another letter in your package. That's the East Rosamond Boulevard Emergency Bypass. That draft was also provided to everyone last month. I did get some feedback from a couple of my fellow directors. We have incorporated that, for example, in your part, Brennan, in that first paragraph, and also a part in the second paragraph there. I'll give you folks a few minutes to take a look at that. And then
I would like to, just to have a little bit of comparison. I took a stab, and sent you a draft. Because I think when we go into a letter like this, we need to say, essentially, we've got a problem and we need your help. And then lay out the problem and then ask them for specific actions. What I was proposing was saying almost exactly that. We're writing to ask you to begin whatever steps may be required to create an alternative crossing and construct bypass roads. I just to give you a little bit of a flavor of what I had thought. I'm just having a hard time pulling out, because they're huge paragraphs, what it is we're asking them to do. That's why I thought maybe some of the words that are in this initial part might be
This letter
useful.
is my original draft, which was modified almost entirely, Dennis, to follow what you had recommended.
Okay.
And then I took and added in that portion that Mr. Riley came up with. It is wordy in the beginning, I agree.
Yeah, what was really missing was we're writing, because what I really wanted to get across in the beginning was, we're writing to ask you to begin whatever steps may be required to create the alternative crossing and
It's in the
instruct
fourth
bypass roads.
paragraph of the letter.
But it's buried, so I would, the only thing I would really like to see is that it be pulled out like this, so that they can readily go to it. I know this reads more like a news release than a formal letter, but that's what I was used to writing, and I really got my, so long as we tell them plainly what we're asking, that's what I'm really concerned about,
Well, I will defer to my fellow directors on this. If the majority of you feel that this letter is not ready for prime time, we'll move it to January.
Now, I do know that in talking with Dave Smith on base, the director of base support stuff, he's like the rough equivalent of what the Air Base wing commander used to be when there used to be 2 wings on base, and when the flight test center was the organization that ran it. And he has been in contact with the folks that administer the defense pot of money that can help get this constructed. He's also been in contact with Zach, and so I know that they've had some discussions about it. So we really need to be on record as saying we have a problem and we need your help, and and we're specifically asking you to make it a priority. So if my fellow board members feel that the letter as written does that, then by all means, let's go for it, because we need to get started. The safety concerns are very real. So far, we've really been pretty fortunate, I think, because we haven't had that many problems on the east side that the train has blocked a response to. But everything on, all the emergency services are on this side. And Brennan's point about if the ambulance is coming from the base and they're racing to the hospital, it's a matter of life and death, and suddenly they get there and a train's across and they can't get around, now they have to backtrack all the way through the base or wait it out, and it could be a life or death situation with the person in an ambulance. And the solution, of course, we're sitting here as an advisory council, and things really seem very simple in our heads, but it seems pretty simple to have a bypass route that goes down to Patterson, because we already have a pre-existing railroad crossing there. The Union Pacific will not entertain the notion of any more at-grade crossings. You want to cross the track someplace new, build an overpass or an underpass, and because they're in the business of getting rid of railroad crossings, not adding more to them. Because quite frankly, and I know my law enforcement guys will attest to this, every time trains and cars are at the same level, there's a potential for a catastrophe. So whatever we can do to encourage them to connect 10th Street down to Patterson across, where there's a pre-existing railroad crossing with the arms, I forgot what they call that, the lights, the bells, the arms, the whole thing. And it's only 2 miles down. If our intersection is blocked here, that one would be open. I have yet to see a 2-mile long train here. So, especially if it's blocking this. But I have seen this blocked for varying amounts of time. So I wish there was some reliable way to know when it was blocked and for how long, but there's no real way to know that, short of hiring somebody to sit there and watch it. In case you want to volunteer. So, apparently not. Yeah, I didn't think so. So,
But aren't we addressing that in the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, aren't we addressing that in the 4th?
are we making them, is it easy for them to see? Can they pull it out?
Well, I'm blonde and I read it.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Just saying, if I can read it,
The one thing that I'd like to add, Dennis, I know you and I have a difference in writing styles. Okay, I'm ex-military. I kind of always like to have a little bit of background right up in the front of the letter saying, this is the problem. And then go into what we would like to see done about it. And I agree that this letter is wordy. I agree it in some ways is kind of hard to read. But the letter needs to be more than a casual, "Hi, John, how is it?" I just don't like letters like that. I think you lose your audience 5 minutes into the thing, because you're not really telling them anything. You're not really stating what the problem is. So,
How do you read mine?
Is the letter more than 1 page?
it's 2 pages.
Too long.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything we got. I've always,
You got
Okay,
a
you have a
lot
motion?
of content.
Okay.
I have a motion to accept it.
I'll second letter.
All in favor of the letter as currently written? Any opposed? Okay, it's adopted. Administration office space, files, and equipment. Laura, you're probably not in the loop on this one, but I wrote a letter to Zack Scrivner back a couple of months ago, I believe, seeking furniture for the office.
Okay.
We have had no response. I've had some folks donate furniture so that we can open this office. I just need to know, if the county doesn't have the money to buy this furniture, that's fine.
Okay. Can you email me a list of their requests?
Okay, last item under old business, RMAC special vacancy. We filled one vacancy with Shanine McArdle last month. We still have one vacancy. I do not have an update at this point. Have you heard anything, Laura?
We have not. I have not. Do we know if there's other applications in?
yes.
Yes, there are, okay.
Yeah, I talked to a guy who was one of our original board of directors back in 2006.
Okay.
And,
I'll follow up on that as well.
And I talked to John Anton Harrison. At first he didn't see it, but then I had the guy that I had recommended, who applied, call.
Okay.
And and that guy reported back to me that they found it. So with any luck now, they can get off top of that center, and we can have the position filled at our January meeting.
Okay, I'll follow up on that for you guys too.
Okay, and if you want, I'll give you his name after the meeting.
That'd be great.
Okay, new business. Long and short-term goals for 2019, 2020, and 2021. I have to apologize, I have fallen down on that one. You'll have it in January. Okay, item B, December 2019 RMAC meeting. Want to get the council's feeling about having a December meeting. I mentioned it last month. I can go either way.
I make a motion that we cancel the December meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that, the December 2019 RMAC meeting is canceled. Our next meeting will be in January, the 3rd Thursday of the month. We will put out something in advance of that. Okay. Director's agenda referrals.
I think we need a small working group to follow up on both of these letters that we sent, and maybe even a third one to follow up on the office, so that we can, two or three of us can, at a time, can make the calls and keep in touch with who we need to be in touch with to report on the progress of these at each of our meetings.
I can do that for you.
Well, but we needed something to do too, so.
need something to do.
Yeah, but if a couple of us could meet with you routinely about that
Yep,
in between meetings.
Absolutely.
So that we can say, okay, where are we? What is our next step?
absolutely.
You know, whose desk is going to fall behind, you know, that kind of thing. So that's what I would like to suggest, we can have that as an item at our next meeting.
We can put it on the agenda and talk about it then. Any other items? Okay, moving to director's comments. Dennis, you got anything?
Well, everybody who was a Rosamond resident probably has in the back of their mind some suggestion to help make Rosamond a better place to live and work. And just as we're doing with these two letters that we acted on tonight, we're bringing this forward to the county, which is our local government, for action. Everybody that you know here in town, ask them, do you have any suggestions for improvements to our community? Now, obviously, we're going to get a lot about the marijuana dispensaries. We're going to, this is the things we've already talked about, but there may be just some new stuff. The whole business of having a bypass road around the Rosamond Boulevard and the Union Pacific tracks came as a result of a suggestion from a community member at one of our meetings. So, if you have suggestions, get in touch with us. If you approach whoever you want, we'll give you our contact information. You give it some thought, come back. Let's see what we can do as a community to make our community a better place to live and work. So I would encourage, it isn't just up to us to do that, but we'll do whatever work we need to do. We don't get paid for this. This is strictly a volunteer thing, because each of us here on this board, I feel, deep down, wants to do whatever we can to improve our community, and we're willing to put the time and effort in to do that. But we need some suggestions. So if you have some, for heaven's sakes, ask. And I've got, each of us have, well, you don't have business cards yet, do you?
No.
But you can ask for her contact information or anybody else's, and we'll be more than happy to meet with you, okay? So this is, let's all work together for the good of the team.
How about a golf resort?
A what, golf resort? Well, yeah, you got our blessing to open one, Jack. Yeah.
You'll join, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of reluctant to suggest a golf course, because it's been my experience that the people who frequent them are teed off.
They are. About 18 times, huh?
Shanine, do you have anything?
Not this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Nothing.
Lisa?
Nothing.
Brent? Okay. I do not have anything either.
Make a
Okay.
motion, we adjourn? I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
7:45.
Our meeting will be, next meeting will be January 2020.
January 16th.
January 16th?
Yeah.